Is the Aquaduck really worth doing, and what was my experience? In this review today, I'll explore all aspects of the Aquaduck tour, discussing the highlights, what to expect, and whether it truly lives up to the hype. Ultimately, helping you decide if it's the best activity for your group and helping you book. Overall, I thought the Aquaduck ride in Mooloolaba was definitely worth doing. It's reasonably priced, comfortable to ride, and I love the variety of both land and water exploration. If you're a first timer to the Sunshine Coast, it gives you a lovely overview of the region, plus full of interesting local facts and information from the guides. But to help you get there, the Aquaduck tour departs from outside the Sea Life Aquarium, just near the wharf. It's in the heart of Mooloolaba. But please note there is no official office to check into, and if you're the first tour leaving for the day, there's no signage on where to go. When the amphibious vehicle first rocks up for the day, the guide will place a metal A-frame display board on the ground, which will stay put for the rest of the day. If anything, just hang out at the entrance of Sea Life and the duck vehicle will drive up about 10 minutes before you're supposed to leave. There are public transport buses leaving from all over the Sunshine Coast, and you can use the TransLink app to help plan your journey. In the end, the 600, 611 and 615 buses all stop along River Esplanade, and you'll have a 200-metre walk after that to the departure point. The standard Aquaduck tour price is around $50 for an adult and $40 for a child between 2 and 16 years old, with options for a family and senior tickets too. This includes a 60-minute journey around the streets of Mooloolaba and then into the Mooloola River waterways. Although if you want to save a few bucks, then I have seen some combo tickets, including the Sea Life Aquarium, which just so happens to be where the tour leaves from. We purchased our tickets online and checked in electronically when we got there. However, there are extra merchandise sales on board for items like the duck whistles, captain's hats, plush toys, key rings and hats. The tours start about 10 a.m. every morning and have about 6 different services about every 1.5 hours until the last one at 4:15 in the afternoon. Although during busy times and school holidays, they can add another 2 services to increase the availability at 9 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. To be honest, the 5:30 p.m. session would be a great time to add for a sunset viewing on the water, but this will all depend on the time of year you want to do it. So what about car parking? Well, the wharf area and Sea Life share a decent size free car park, but you need to be aware this only has a 4-hour limit during normal business hours. Luckily, the Aquaduck is only an hour tour and you won't have any issues either side, but if you're hanging out there for longer or going to Sea Life afterwards, then you might have to move your car. On the downside, this car park does fill up quickly in the morning, with the Sea Life patrons starting at 9 a.m. and especially when the whale watching boats are leaving. Does it get crowded? Well, overall I think the boat carries about 30 passengers, so this will definitely depend on when you're visiting and during busy times. But since we visited in the middle of the week and out of school holidays, there were only about 10 to 15 people on our tour. This was a good balance and we were able to move around a lot when we were on the water. Plus, you'll be able to hear all of the tour guide's commentary without many conversations overshadowing it. So what was it like? Honestly, there isn't much you can see in 1 hour, but the guide's local knowledge and commentary make up for it. Between housing prices, Dreamtime stories, interesting facts, jokes, and seeing the crocodile hunter Steve Irwin's Croc One boat, the whole experience is well worth checking out. The tour starts in the land portion and takes about 10 to 15 minutes to drive the streets and down to the Mooloolaba Esplanade. After that, the vehicle enters the water and turns into a boat. At this point, you can remove your seatbelt and move around the cabin for photos and different views. The commentary continues to run the entire time and you'll get distant views of Point Cartwright, plus drive past the fish markets and the luxurious mansions of Minyama. After a while, they'll invite kids up to drive in the captain's seat, plus each one will actually get a certificate saying that they did it. Within the last 10 minutes, the amphibious vehicle will exit the Mooloola River. You'll put your seatbelt back on and drive back to the starting point at Sea Life. How fast does it go? Well, on the road, the Aquaduck drives the legal speed limit and won't go above 60 kilometres per hour. On the water, it will travel at a calm, leisurely pace, allowing passengers to enjoy the sights and move around the vessel comfortably. This speed won't exceed 6 knots per hour, which is the legal limit in the Mooloolah River. This limit helps minimise wake and reduce disturbances to both marine life and those residing along the riverbanks. Overall, we found our guide to be very friendly with the check-in process, plus entertaining on the tour, and she kept the commentary running for most of the time. There was also engagement with the group, asking questions and wandering around to talk to the passengers. Is it accessible? Well, unfortunately, there are about 5 steps on an aluminium ladder to get into the Aquaduck, so this is not wheelchair accessible. No, the vehicle does not have a toilet, and in fact, when you're driving on land, the seatbelt will need to be worn and you have no option to walk around. Therefore, please ensure you visit the public toilets inside the wharf precinct beforehand. Also note that no food or drinks can be brought on board except for a bottled water. Matt actually had to scull his coffee down that he bought at the bakery just before, and expecting this helps keep the duck vehicle clean for future tours. As for suitability, I think this tour is suitable for anyone who can climb aboard, but it's definitely a big hit with the smaller children and is very family friendly. There are no weight limits to book, and you can carry an infant on your lap for free. If it's your first time to the Sunshine Coast and you're staying within the Mooloolah region, then it's a cost-effective and fast way to tour the roads and water. The information alone will help you learn about the region, and this is not something you'll find out from driving around on your own. Honestly, the Aquaduck tour could be done at any time of year and at any time of day, but it comes down to your personal preference and availability. We completed it during the winter in July, and while the breeze was a little cool and you might need a light jacket, it was still a gorgeous, warm, sunny day. If you prefer the quieter atmosphere with less crowds, then visiting in the weekdays and outside of school holidays or long weekends would be ideal. However, while there is a roof on the vehicle, I wouldn't expect it to be as enjoyable in the rain. But know that the tour will still run in mild weather changes, and plastic screens are there to help shield you from the conditions. There was nothing about this tour that led me to believe that it wasn't a safe experience for everyone. If anything, trying to get on and off the vehicle using their step ladder was probably the most debatable, but only if you had prior issues using a ladder like this. Life jackets are available on board, seatbelts are worn on land, and there was a staff briefing at the start of the tour to advise all the do's and don'ts. This includes keeping your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times and how to use the life jacket. So after all of that, what else is there to do? Well, please click here for my video on the best things to do on the Sunshine Coast. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you for the next one.